the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend in his own time. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, you better be able to handle the truth if you're tuning in to the Ron Kelly show. If you can't handle the truth, you better go somewhere else. Well, welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's November 3rd already, 2022. Wow, it's just flying by. It's almost Thanksgiving, and we're still wearing T-shirts. Imagine that. My special guest this evening is Montclair. Now, do they say, okay, Montclair Councilman Peter Yacobellis. And I got his name right. I didn't butcher his name. You know how I kill people's names. So welcome, Councilman. How are you?
Good, Ron. Thanks for having me. And you did fine.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I had been saying it all week. I said, now, because I don't want to ask him how you say it, but I wanted to ask you anyway because I don't want to butcher it. But glad to have you here, everybody. As promised, Councilman Peter Yacobellis. Now, how long have you been? It's since the last election, right? Hasn't even really been a year yet, or has it?
It has. I got elected in 2020. I took office in July of 2020, so it's been just over 2 years.
Oh, good grief! You see how much I pay attention to, how attentive I am. Like, wow. So it's been 2 years. So it's been, I like I said, I didn't want to jump out on the bushes on you. I do live in Montclair, and I do have some issues. And anybody who lives in Montclair now, if you want to call into the show or send me a message, be nice, be nice, because the R is being nice tonight. And not that I jump out the bushes on people, but it just seems like our little town just suddenly turned into a circus, for the lack of a better word. What I mean, you got the parking lot, you got Glenbridge Avenue. They put a bike lane. I'm like, what? But what is going on in Montclair, Councilman Yacobellis? What's happening right now? What are the sticking points that
Yeah, I think we have just grown right faster than we can catch up with, and we very quickly have become. We've had that slogan for a long time where city meets the suburbs, but we never really understood the city part. Downtown Montclair is now a city, right? We've got tall buildings and parking decks, and to your point, a new bike lane, and it's a new way of living. And these things were set in motion a long time ago, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, where they decided to do the Bay Street line. They brought residential or commuter rail into Montclair with direct access to Manhattan. That was always going to forever change, because wherever you have direct access to Manhattan, people want to invest in real estate, right? And so those prices go up and people want to develop structures and whatnot. So a lot of this stuff has been in the pipeline for 20 years, the last 10 years. It's interesting because I get anti-development sentiment all the time in my inbox. And I haven't voted for a single thing yet. I've been in office for 2 years and not one building has come up for council approval. Everything that's gone up and is going up has been in the pipeline from the previous council. So I think it's an adjustment. There's growing pains with how we've changed. We have 1,700 new households in Montclair, meaning new families have moved in just since the beginning of the pandemic. That's incredible if you think about it. That's 1,700 homes or apartments. So you have a ton of new people who don't even know traffic patterns, don't necessarily know where the parking decks are. And I think as a government, I think it was, historically has been a little bit more of a sleepy kind of, sleepy bedroom community town and that kind of a government. And one of the things I've been trying to do is shine a light on everything that's going on, whether it's pretty or ugly, And I think when you do shine a light, you end up getting all of it. You end up seeing a lot. So it's a little bit to me of we've awoken, I think, people to what's going on. I don't think there's anything, by the way, going on that hasn't happened before. I think people are just seeing it now. It's just in the light, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And, it's been, and I think you're exactly right, because that's the same thing I said, that Montclair exploded in growth and nobody noticed. And now it's like, now you're trying to control a beast. The Frankenstein monster is now it's too late to follow it around with the tiki torches. It's too late. Now you gotta live with it. You gotta live with it now. You can't kill it. You have to live with it. And that's the same thing I said, that Montclair has just exploded in growth and just, building after building after building. And I'm like, who approves these because you got a building on the corner of Glen Ridge they've been building that building for years, and they've put up all kinds of structures around it, and it's still sitting there and not completed. So who controls that stuff? Does the construction department, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the town has a master plan, and it was adopted a while ago. And in the master plan is a design and intentions for downtown Montclair. So long ago, again, previous council, and even I think the council before that, made decisions about density downtown and codified those decisions into a master plan that then guides what private property owners can do with their property, up to 6 stories, how many units per acre, all of those sorts of things. So, this was a decision that was made a long time ago based on having the train access to the city, based on, at the time, retail, commercial real estate was struggling downtown. So the idea, I think, was to bring more residential downtown and more office downtown to help with all the retail vacancies that we had. And it's worked, right, to some extent, but there's a price to everything, right? So retail's booming, our restaurant scene is booming. Montclair is a destination. We've got, concerts going on and all kinds of festivals all year round. We've got some of the best restaurants in the state. There's a lot going on. Everybody wants to come to Montclair. And I think even more so over the last 2 years, I think people became concerned because of COVID about going into the city. And the more we're creating cultural events and good dining experiences so people don't have to go into the city and they can do this in their own, not just their own neighborhood, but in their own region, that's the phenomenon that I think we're dealing with. So what I'd like to see us do is the busyness and the sort of chaos around it all is really downtown, right? I think we need a different governance strategy for downtown Montclair. I think we need to recognize that we've got a police department and everything that was built for what Montclair used to be. And we need to start thinking about all the kinds of services and what we need to provide to all the visitors who are coming in, and how do we address these mass events and all the traffic. And little by little, we're getting to it, right? Bloomfield Avenue getting redone and having the timing on the lights all optimized is helpful. We have a couple new parking decks that have come online. The last one's coming online next week. So all of our parking decks will be open with over 1,000 new parking spaces downtown. We're going to follow that soon with new digital signage on Bloomfield Avenue to tell people where the parking garages are and how many spots are available. We're asking places like the Wellmont Theater to tell people when they buy tickets to sell parking with the tickets so they can know exactly where they're parking their car when they come to a show, so they're not circling the block. So I think it's a lot of revisiting how commerce happens downtown during busy times and how all of our town services respond to it.
Let me ask you, Councilman, everybody, this is Montclair Councilman Peter Yacobellis. How much of this is political with the I'm not going to try to get into it. I know you can't talk that much about it, but how much of the infighting, if I can call it that, is political? And how much of it is just, so people just don't like each other?
Look, I think it's mostly political. I think it's a little bit of not liking each other. I do think there's a lack of trust. Look, the most dangerous thing in the world is, and this is historical, men losing power. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who might lose power. That is the story of history in the world, right? And so that's what you see at play here, right? There's power politics, power dynamics, tension between personalities. And unfortunately, this council, this government, we were virtual almost the whole time. So we got sworn in and then we never saw each other. And so we were in our little kingdoms and our own little fiefdoms and in our own wards or whatnot. I'm at large, so I've got the whole town. And we have our constituencies, and we got so used to engaging with and responding to our constituencies that we didn't gel as a team. And I think that's hurt us. So the question is now, can we turn the ship around? And you're seeing infighting, and look, some of that's healthy. We should debate. We should fight over things. We were elected independently, 7 of us, and we have different constituencies who have different points of views and want us to advocate for different things. So a debate is healthy. I don't think crossing the line into cursing or standing up and being aggressive or anything like that is appropriate. And that's, I think, unfortunately, what we have seen recently. So we got to tone it down. People got to tone it down, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
So let's take it back to before you became councilman. What did you see? Because everything starts with an idea or a vision, an observation. So what did you see that made you decide to run for the council in Montclair?
It's actually like the silliest little thing. You'll probably appreciate this. I live on Grove Street. And so every time my family comes to visit, there's nowhere for them to park because of overnight parking. So I'd have to figure out, and I have to go print the $5 pass off the internet and download it and print it out and fold it and cut it with scissors and go stick it on my sister's windshield, right? Like it's stuff like that, just thinking there has to be a better way. And a little bit of feeling like there was a disconnect between the government and the people. Montclair is supposed to be a really progressive, open-minded community. And I just didn't feel like the way we spend money in our town reflected the values. I don't think we do enough human services. We have granite curbing throughout the whole town at $6 a brick. And we have kids who go to bed hungry in this town, right? So I just don't think that we had the right values framework. And I don't think enough people in town were paying attention. I also wanted to be part of a new generation of public servants in Montclair. I think I represent a lot of new people who have moved here in the last 10 years. I definitely represent a different generation. I grew up in a little bit of government in New York, but also in business. So I'm understand how to present and how to communicate and how to take complex situations and distill it down to ways to explain it to the public. So it's a lot of that, just wanting more efficient government, more responsive government, more reflective government.
And instead you got WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, look, that's the tenor of politics in America right now. And it's unfortunate because, we are nonpartisan, and that's the good news is we're not having partisan fights here. It's not over Republican versus Democrat like it is in DC or in Trenton. But there is this struggle between doing things the way we've always done them versus doing them a new way. And that's creating a lot of friction.
Right. Because you can't keep things the way they were like 30 years ago, because Montclair is nothing like it was 30 years ago. So you can't, I know there's the old, the nostalgia, the nostalgia folks that want to keep things the way they were and don't want the big crowds coming in, and because some nights it's like New York, like 42nd Street. Yep. And I live on Glen Ridge mostly, and I park my car in Lackawanna. So speaking of Lackawanna, I miss my path mark that used to be there. I could just stroll across the street and get what I want. Now you got to go all the way down to Bloomfield to shop. So, I mean, we've heard so many, something's going to happen. Oh, they backed out. Oh, we got another plan. Oh, they backed out. So what's the problem? Is Lackawanna like the big monolithic pink elephant in the room, or can anything be done with it?
So we have a plan as a town. We have a redevelopment plan. Unfortunately, one of my colleagues decided to force a tabling of that the other night, and delay it even further. Again, it's the town came up with the plan, so I think it's a good plan. It includes the construction of what will be the largest grocery store in Montclair, rental units, 30% affordable, tons of open space, preserving the historical charm, eco-friendly, accessible for people with disabilities. It's a really, I think, a great plan. We've got to get into the specifics, exactly how many units, the materials being used on the building, how much parking. That all still has to happen, and that comes during this redevelopment plan process. But we have a plan, and I'm asking my colleagues to let's start moving forward, because my first event that I did when I got elected was I went and met with some of the seniors over at the home, actually probably right close to where you live, right on Glen Ridge. And I remember a woman asking me same question, like, what's going on? Like, I miss being able to walk and get pantyhose when I needed a Pathmark, you know? And it's, look, it's private property, right? So the person who owns the property has to decide what they want to do with it and when. We have, as a government, have to say, this is what we're okay with you doing there. And so he's waiting, that family that owns it is waiting for us to say, this is what the government is going to approve you to do there, or these are the parameters that you have to operate in and that you have to build within. So I feel good about something happening. I just don't think it's going to happen quickly. It's still going to be a couple of years before anything is there. But the good news is we have a plan.
Well, let them know next time if you're having a meeting here, let them know we do appreciate the free parking over there.
Yeah.
And the thousands of dollars that we've saved by not getting tickets. I got a bunch of those hang tags in my glove compartment anyway. I mean, just in case, because you never know where, you're going to be. So I got a whole bunch of those hang tags. I went downtown and I bought them. I forget what happened because they were having a lot of events over there. And
yep.
You can't park here and blah, blah, blah. So I went and bought some. But now you mentioned the police. And I promised I wasn't going to hold you because I know you got other stuff to do. So I'm going to let you go in a second. But you mentioned the police. And I had mentioned to you about class 2 police officers because the police can't be everywhere.
That's right.
I think that was a horrible idea in New York where they put unarmed security. I'm an armed. I mean, it's not my main job, but I've been trained as an armed security guard. I mean, with training, and I respect my gun. I'm not going to go out here and shoot somebody. So, what's the story with that? And I know the police are they circle the wagons when somebody mentions anything about outsiders. So, if you've heard anything, what has been the atmosphere?
Are you talking about in terms of responses to different things other than violent issue? Like,
yeah, I mean, where they are the police, is the Montclair Police Department open to hiring class 2 officers? Right. Are they open to that?
So it's actually a policy decision for the government, for the manager, and for the council. That's for us to decide. It's not really a question of if they're open to it or not. That's really for us to debate and decide. I do think there's a lot of value in it. I remember when you sent me the information. I think there's a lot of value, and we should consider it. I think post 9/11, police departments, fire, all those departments got whatever they needed, no questions asked. And what happened was, and I don't fault them for that, but what happened was local governments started to just allow more and more services to be picked up by those departments because they had so much funding coming in from the federal government post 9/11. And so we lost, and we no longer provide, to me, adequate human services in Montclair, senior services, mental health. intervention, homeless services, all those sorts of things, right? And so the police end up responding to all of those things when you don't necessarily need a cop to respond to it. So that is something where I would like to see us go in a different direction, where, a homeless person on the street, if somebody calls to complain about that, you need somebody who's a mental health expert to go and address that, who knows where to take them, right? And our cops, by the way, know how to do that. And they sometimes show up in plain clothes and whatnot, so we don't startle somebody or alarm them. I just don't know all those functions belong under the umbrella of the police department. I'd like to see us spend more resource human services more with a different perspective than coming at it from a law enforcement perspective.
Yeah, because I know I know people who work for different towns, and the town has three or four cops, but they still have class 2 officers to direct traffic, do some of the stuff that the regular officers shouldn't have to deal with. Sitting at a public service PSE&G site for 12 hours. I mean, there's somebody else should be doing that.
Absolutely, Ron. And there are two things that we do that are different that I like. One is we've got a community service police unit, which is great, right? They're different clothes. They're out in the community more. They're engaging with residents. We do have crossing guards who are paid, and we do have a school resource officer as well. So we have little examples, but look, I agree with you. I think it's an unnecessary expense for people doing development projects, for the government in general, to have to pay police officers to sit outside of construction sites, even when a tree is coming down, all those sorts of things. New Jersey Transit, if they're doing work, PSE&G, if they're doing work, have to pay money to hire police officers to shut the street down, when, to your point, you could have class 2. So, yeah. And you could save a lot of money and still achieve the same outcome. So I'm very open to that conversation, especially when it comes to projects like, even just somebody doing something on their home that requires, closing the street for a little while. Block part, whatever it is, there's going to be a cheaper way.
The street closing is going crazy. Now, is there something folks there's a lot of issues. I've talked to some people. I told some people you were going to be on the show, and I spoke to them. They said, well, there's haves and have-nots. There's the crime is creeping up a little bit. Somebody got killed around the corner the other day.
Yep.
The parking, that parking deck is like a joke because it's been finished for a long time and nobody can park there. So is there anything that you want to say to kind of, I know that was a lot right there, but is there anything you want to say to your supporters and your supporters are the whole town? Is there anything you want to say to the people in regards to the kind of chaos that's going on in Montclair right now, and what you guys plan to do to solve some of the issues that people have with the town?
Yeah, so I think a lot of these are we fixed a lot, right? And it's just it's taking time for people to see. So a couple good news items. All the meters that were broken have been fixed. That parking deck that you talked about is opening in a week. Bloomfield Avenue, the traffic signals are going to get revisited in terms of the timing. People are having trouble crossing going north and south. We're going to have no problem opening the pools next year because the parks will have been done. So all those things that have bubbled up and become reasonable points of frustration for folks, I think you're going to see resolution to. I just also, fundamentally, we've got a management issue in Montclair with our form of government where, and this isn't personal, we just have what's called a weak mayor form of government. So we don't have a mayor who has power. We've got a manager who has power. That manager is now on leave because of some incidents that happened. And so I think we need to also revisit the form of government that we have, because folks like me, we're supposed to be part-time. We only get $10,000 a year, but yet we're expected to be these full-time, respond to everything all the time, weigh in on everything all the time employees, and it's just not practical. So we need to revisit that. But what I would say to everybody is, look, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. There's there is no putting the genie back in the bottle. I'm never going to be that politician that lies to you and makes you believe that something's going to happen that isn't going to happen. Montclair is on this growth trajectory. It's changed forever. But so have many other places. You know, I go back to my neighborhood I grew up in Queens. It doesn't look a thing like it looked like when I lived there, right? And nobody looks the same as the people that I lived there with. Everybody's gone. It's happening everywhere. It's not unique to Montclair. So to me, we have to recognize that we're a growing civilization. People are growing. People are having kids. They want their families nearby. How do we grow in a smart way? How do we assume we're going to grow and grow in a way that isn't disruptive? Because the thing that I'm most concerned about is holding on to our character as a community. Because I don't want us to become a sterile, just another city along a train line, like a Morristown, that doesn't have soul to it. Montclair has a lot of soul, and I want to protect and hold on to that soul of our community. So that's what I'm guarding against.
I agree. I agree that Montclair does have a it has a feeling, you know, when you, and that's why people come here, because it's laid back, it's a friendly town, and you know, I mean, I've been living here since 2009 in Montclair.
Yep. Yeah.
And I moved here for a reason. Now, but what you said about your hometown, now I grew up in Jersey City, and Jersey City looks like a metropolis now. Downtown, we used to hang out when we were kids, and now I go down there and get lost.
Right, and that's the point. And anybody who grew up in New York City, look at the skyline. You know, so everything's changing. We're not insulated from change. You can't go from 2 billion people 100 years ago to 8 billion people and not have everything change, right? That's what makes, that's what causes development. That's what makes everything more expensive, especially when people want to keep living in the same places. So we have to just do it in a way that's intelligent, thoughtful, and respectful, and holds on to the soul and the character of the town. And I think that's possible. And I'm glad to see, some of the architecture of the newer buildings, the most recent buildings, I think has been done really nicely. I love the vestry. I love the new building in Watchtown Plaza. So we're seeing, I think, better architecture than we did before. I like the new Seymour Street buildings. I love all the festivals we're having now downtown, not just the film festival, but the jazz festival downtown, Montclair Pride downtown. These big events that really showcase the best of our town to visitors and allow everybody who lives here to be part of it too. So there's a lot of good that we're doing, but it's choppy waters right now. So I want to leave you all with, please know that I'm available. You can just simply go to peteryacobellis.com and get my information and contact me with whatever you need. I'm always open to a conversation. I'm always willing to admit I make a mistake, and I always want to hear what people are thinking. So I appreciate you having me, Ron. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Councilman Yacobellis. I appreciate you coming on, and when I go to the cigar bar, we're probably going to talk about you. I mean, not like that, but people will want to have a discussion because it's very important to them. So thank you. I appreciate your time. Maybe I can get the week mayor to Sean Spiller to come on one day and see if we can get him to talk to us.
Yeah, and I'll come back anytime, Ron.
Thank you, Peter. Peter Yacobellis, Montclair Councilman, first term, been on for 2 years. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. That was Councilman Peter Yacobellis from Montclair, my town. Montclair, my town. All right, everybody. This is the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, and Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll take a quick break and we'll come right back with more of this nonsense. It's the Ron Kelly Show, everybody, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show.com. All right, everybody. Oh, American Porterfield since 1980. Wow, 42 years. 42 years. American Porterfield Transportation has been providing safe, reliable transportation, getting you back and forth with no problems. And they're still doing it after 42 years. Located in Plainfield, New Jersey, 307 Arlington Avenue, Plainfield. And yeah, so you can email them. It's amaker.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amaker.porterfield@verizon.net. I got a bunch of papers here, and I don't know where my stuff. Oh Lord Jesus. Anyway, yeah, Amaker Porterfield at Verizon. Amaker.porterfield@verizon.net. 31 minutes past the hour. The Democrats are going to lose. I'm calling it right now. The Democrats are going to lose. Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, is going to lose, or she's going to come very close to losing. Herschel Walker has a very good chance of winning his Senate seat. And the problem is that nobody cares about Nancy Pelosi's husband. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but many people don't care about what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband. They don't care. You know, a lot of people don't care about democracy and what happened on January 6th. And the Democrats have been dropping the ball. The Democrats have not been focusing on what people are talking about. See, this is when it comes to people's money, when it comes to people's money, it's a whole new ball game. Bread going up, gas, all of this stuff. And when it comes to money, the people, like I said, the Democrats focused on the wrong thing. Biden gave a speech last night, and he's talking about, the soul of the nation. He's still talking about that. Oh, come on, you got to change. Look, people getting robbed, people getting shot, people getting killed. Nobody cares about democracy right now. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about democracy. Nobody cares about Pelosi's husband. Nobody. I don't mean to say nobody, but most people don't care about that. They care about how they can put food on the table. They care about how these gas prices are going to go down. That's what they care about. That's what they care about. And the Democrats dropped the ball because they didn't talk about it. And the Democrats behind the scenes tried to tell Biden not to talk about what he talked about last night, democracy, because people don't care. They don't care about democracy. They care about their pockets. And the Democrats blew it. So I think that Kathy Hochul in New York is going to lose. And I'll tell you, if Murphy was running right now, I believe that he would lose. And I'm not a Democrat hater or anything like that. But they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. They didn't talk about the stuff that they needed to talk about, and they dropped the ball. So now they're running around the country, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris is in New York trying to help out Kathy Hochul, but it's too late. Kathy Hochul is too late. Because somebody must have told her that she was going to be a winner and all this stuff. They lied because she hasn't been the governor long enough. She just became the governor this year. And prior to that, she was lieutenant governor. Nobody knew her. She got her spot because Andrew Cuomo was too stupid to stay out of his own way. But this is bad. There's going to be a red wave tomorrow. Tuesday, and Joe Biden is not going to have power to do anything. He's going to be just like another Barack Obama, sitting in the White House for 2 years more and can't do anything. Can't. If somebody on the Supreme Court dies, he can't appoint somebody, nobody else. None of his agenda is going to get through. He's just going to be like frozen in time. And you better believe that some Democrats, local Democrats, and Passaic County Democrats, some of them are going to feel a wrath too. Some of them are going to feel a wrath too. The views and opinions expressed here are exclusively those of myself and Ron R. Kelly Media Enterprises, LLC, and are not those of my advertisers or support team. Yeah, so the local Dems are going to catch it too. They're going to catch it too. Because the Democrats, see, when all of these things took place with the Democrats while the Democrats were in office, all these things took place. You had bail reform. It was the worst idea because people are, it's been like a merry-go-round. Get on, get off, get on, get off, get locked up, get released, get locked up, get released. I mean, I understand the concept and why people felt a need for bail reform, especially after that young man, he was in the jail. He killed himself after he got out. So he kills himself. And that's when people came up with the idea of bail reform, because he was in jail. Because people do spend a lot of time in jail. Black folks mostly spend a lot of time in jail. And because they don't have $100 to pay, to get out. Ronald McCready, shout out to my brother, Ronald McCready. America will be held hostage once again. Yeah. See, the Democrats blew it. It's too late now. The Democrats blew it. It's too late. And and when you talk about Passaic County, I think the only person who's relatively safe is Congressman Pascrell, who's 6th district. He's the only one. I think everybody else, from the sheriff on down, is vulnerable to a degree. Maybe not very vulnerable, but they're vulnerable to a degree. I mean, Sheriff Burdnick, because they already lost 2 seats. There's Republicans on the county commission now, and there's going to be more. Okay. Yeah, there's going to be more. All right, it's 20 minutes before the hour. We'll take a quick break. Come right back with more. It's the Ron Kelly Show. Everybody, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. The Ron Kelly Show. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, we are back, everybody. We are back, America. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on YouTube, it's on LinkedIn, it's on Twitter, and it's on Facebook. All over the place. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, so Ronald McCready, America will be held hostage again. See, because the Democrats dropped the ball. They're out there talking about the soul of America. Biden, give it a rest. People don't care about the soul of America. They care about the soul of their pocketbook. They care about the soul of their gas tank. That's what people care about. They don't care about the soul of America. It's like, so what? And crime, which has exploded. See, and all this took place during the Democrats' reign. That's when all of this took place. So, and the Democrats haven't addressed it. They haven't said nothing about crime. They haven't said anything. Not a word. And the Republicans are beating them across the head with it. Because Kathy Hochul, even though she hadn't been the governor of New York for a long time, she, nobody thought that she would have to bring in Kamala Harris and to help her. Nobody ever thought that. Nobody thought she would have to bring Hillary Clinton to help her. Nobody, because, for a while there, she was cruising along. But like I said, the people didn't, the Democrats didn't come across. And now it's too late. Because a lot of people have already voted anyway. A lot of people have voted already anyway. So this is going to be a bloodbath. And I think that the Senate and the House of Representatives is going to fall to the Republicans. Because the Senate candidates, the Democratic Senate candidates, are not that strong. You got John Fetterman, who had the stroke. Not saying that the stroke should stop him from getting that job, but that's something that the Republicans have been picking on. Val Demings, God bless her, is going to lose to Mario. She's going to lose to the senator in Florida. And I'm not like, I know some of y'all out there saying, I already got a couple text messages. Why are you saying that? Because she's going to lose. Marco Rubio. Yeah, she's going to lose. Marco Rubio is too strong in Florida. It's going to lose. Then you got Herschel Walker, and the people really don't care what he's done. Look how many accusations there were between, during Trump's run to the White House. How many people came out? How many females came out and talked about him and complained about it and accused him of stuff? And he still got elected anyway. And see, this is the problem, that a lot of these Republicans, they don't care about what, they don't care. They don't care what any of them done. They don't care if Herschel Walker had 10 abortions. So the Democrats are talking about the wrong stuff. So what, he had 10 abortions? So what, he had 2 abortions? So what? And that's what they're saying, like, so what? I say, so what? Because we can't, you can't hold people, you can't measure people by their morality anymore. You can't. You can't measure people by their morality because people are just not moral anymore. Nobody cares unless you say something about a certain ethnic group. But other than that, nobody cares about morality and decency. And so nobody cares about that. No, nobody cares. They're like, whatever. So what, he got, he had 2 baby mamas. And they both got abortions. Hey, they're going to be like, hey, well, he paid for them. This is how it's going to go down. And the people are going to vote for him. And he has a very good chance of beating Raphael Warnock. He has a very good chance. because the people don't care. It's 15 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Show all over the world. And I didn't get cut off this week. But yeah, it's already over. It's already over. I mean, I'll be watching on Tuesday. There may be a few surprises, but for the most part, it's going to be over. Might be a few surprises here and there. Val Demings ain't going to win Marco Rubio's seat. Stacey Abrams is not going to win Georgia from Brian Kemp. She's not. But you see, the thing, what scares me the most is what's going to happen with the governors. You know, the MAGA governors, the governors who, the crazy governors, Katie Hobbs, the psychopath, crazy and deranged, is running for governor in Arizona. And you might say, Ron, why are you worried about what's going to happen in Arizona? Okay. I'll tell you like this here. So the problem is going to be that these people, they're trying to get these Secretary of State, because Secretary of State traditionally controls the election, Secretary of State. And what they want to do is they want to be able to throw out the vote. That's what the Republicans want to do. They want to be able to throw the vote out. Just, this is illegitimate. And install whoever they want. Say, no, this person won. They tried doing it when Trump was president. They tried it. Because each state has a set of electors. And, so in some states, they tried to send fake electors to the capital of the state capitals. So what they're trying to do now is they want to get their people elected to these Secretary of State positions where they can throw out an election. Just throw it out. Throw it out. Scary. Ronald McCready says we're going to be held hostage. It's 12 minutes before the hour. So, yeah, it's going to be bad. And you see, because they're going to be able to throw out the vote. Just, you know what? Without proof. Without proof. Now, I don't say that they're going to throw out Stacey Abrams. I don't think Stacey Abrams has enough juice to become governor of Georgia. Now, I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong about Val Demings either, because I don't believe that she's going to be able to beat Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, and take his Senate seat. I seriously doubt that. Anyway, everybody, that was somebody just texted me about who was that. That was Montclair Councilman Peter Yacobellis. I've been wanting to talk to him for a long time. And so the deck, the monolith, is going to be open next Thursday. So, wow, okay. Okay. Next Thursday, Peter, I do believe Peter more than I believe anybody else. But he says it's going to be on and popping, that it's going to be on and popping. So we'll see. But yeah, this is awful. Because people don't care about what happened to Paul Pelosi. They don't care. Like, whatever. See, so that old soul of the nation stuff that Biden's been talking, should have moved away from that a long time ago. Because people want to know why there's so much crime. They want to know why people are able to do the merry-go-round, go into jail, come out the other side, and commit crimes. And the Republicans have been on this. They have been on it. The Republicans have been on this. They've been on this. And they have been hitting the Democrats hard with this crime stuff. And there is a lot of crime. Now, can we actually attribute it to the Democrats? Well, because there's going to be crime if the Republicans take over too. There's going to be crime. But because the Democrats are in power right now, they're going to take the blame. They are going to take the blame. So, so hold on to your hats. And I can't wait until Tuesday. This is exciting for somebody like me who watches this stuff. And this, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. You see, and what else is not good is because we all live in our own little world. Most of us. We don't know nothing about what's going on in Washington or that North Korea, South Korea is shooting missiles at each other. Most people don't know anything about that. They live in their own little galaxy, their own little world, and they don't know what the hell is going on. They just know what's going on Facebook. They don't know nothing about nothing. And it's not going to come down until you need to know. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to come down until you need to know. But people have to start paying attention to other things. We see your 5 or 6 pictures on Facebook. And I'm telling you, the dimes don't put their pictures on Facebook. The fine chicks, the dimes, they don't put their picture on Facebook. It's the 4s and the 5s that want to put 7 or 8 snapshots, the same snapshot, same clothes, same everything, hairdo, same everything, and want to put that on Facebook like that's going to attract some attention. See, I'm like Kevin Samuels. I'm like Kevin Samuels. But I don't want to, he was who he was and I'm who I am. And I don't want to pick up the baton and run with it because I can't be him. But yeah. Like, wow. But so, most of us live in our own little world. We don't know what's going on. We don't know about the midterms. Don't even know what the midterms are. Don't even know. Because we all want, we live in our own little world. Go to work, come home, be with the kids if we have some, hang with our friends if you got some. And that, and that's the extent of our own little world. That's the extent of our own little world where we just, Anyway, it's 5 minutes before the hour, 6 minutes before the hour. We're about to break out of here, but yeah. So I'm not going to say go ahead out there and vote because I don't know. But if you care about what's going on in this United States of America, then you can't vote everywhere, but you can vote where you live. There's lots of votes going on for school board and all kinds of stuff. This is the time of the year where you see all these signs everywhere. And who goes around and picks up these signs? Somebody asked me that. I said, I don't know. And then every year somebody's pulling somebody else's signs out of the ground. Every year. What the hell? Why even complain about it? Anyway, thank you, Montclair Councilman, at-large Councilman Peter Yacobellis for coming on and updating us on what's going on in Montclair. Because a lot of us are, like, wow, what's going on here? Including me. So I got some clarity on, this is the same stuff I could have just, because I email him, he emails me, So, it's the same stuff that I could have got from email, but I wanted to share it with the other folks who live in this town. who'll be marginalized. Anyway, all right, I'm out, everybody. It's 4 minutes before the hour. So the R is going to take off and go find something to eat. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Montclair Councilman Peter Yacobellis. Wow, the weather's beautiful, ain't it? It's like 11. Today is the 3rd. And it's crazy. Anyway, everybody, I'm out. Everybody, have a good week. Remember that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice than that. We may not have it all together, but together we can certainly have it all. Thank you, and thank you. Uh-oh.